I gotta tell you something monumental. Back in high school, they used to call me 4K Ultra Joe. I come walking down the hallway in school, they say, there he is, 4K Ultra Joe. He's crazy. Yeah! Did you miss me last week? This is the daily. Finally switched over to 4K. Man, that was a process. But anyway, listen to this email I received. I love emails. Mr. Joe, that's me. I recently discovered your channel on YouTube, or as you say it, the old YouTubes. Appreciate your videos, the work that you do showing Titusville Oil City locations and the surrounding areas. Well, thank you. You mentioned Ralph Nader in your last video. I would love to hear that story. Well, thank you, John. Well, thank you, John, for writing the email. Plus there's the PS's. P.S. Could you do more Franklin, PA locations? They're on the list, buddy. There you go. PSS. Is that an aspen?
This is an aspen. You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
Well, I guess me and you are going back to Oil City. You want to go?
I'm doing a vlog on a political figure. In no way am I promoting a political side. It's just a historical fact about the transit building and Ralph Nader in Oil City, Pennsylvania. I dig history.
Oil City. Feels like it was just here. Now, if you don't know who Ralph Nader is, let me give you a brief history on who Ralph Nader is. Ralph Nader is an American political activist, a lecturer, an attorney, and he wrote books. He also ran for president, 96, 2000, 04, and 08. The dude was heavy in the politics. But 1965, he wrote a book, one of his books, Unsafe at Any Speed, and he targeted unsafe cars, especially the Chevy Corvair.
If you're like most people who are interested in the Corvair, you want to know what it can do in action.
And the Ford Pinto.
Like the Pinto cruising wagon, Ford's newest idea in banning. Or this lively-looking Pinto with its inexpensive pop-up open-air roof.
Funny, my grandma had a Pinto. I love that car. I think it was orange. What are those birds doing? Gee, crazy birds. So what's Ralph Nader got to do with Oil City in the building that stands over there? Well, I'm going to tell you. But first, let me do a little brief history on the National Transit Building. 1859, Colonel Drake struck oil in Titusville, PA. That's why this building is here. He loves the whales. It was built here in 1890 for Standard Oil. And the man named John D. Rockefeller had a stranglehold on the oil here in the region. Can't beat old architecture, I'm telling you. But back in the day when they started drilling oil, they basically drilled it, put in a barrel, put in a wagon, and said, go sell it. That's what they did. By 1870, it's pretty much the wagon and the barrel hullabaloo went away. Basically, they were transporting oil through a pipeline. Hence, Pipeline Alley. There's no getting away around it. But back to John D. Rockefeller. He already had a building in New York, but this was built to oversee the oil production in this area. It's a moneymaker. So basically what you're looking at is the sister building to the one in New York. Yeah, just another oil business. John D. Rockefeller's strategy in Standard Oil, what they did is basically had a stranglehold on the railroads around here, and they could charge fees for small oil businesses. You know, while you're here, you just stop and look at the beauty of these buildings. It's really impressive. They just don't build them like they used to. Basically what would happen is a small businessman, small oil man would come in and want his oil moved from his property to sell to make money. Pretty much Rockefeller pretty much gave him the option, either merge with me or I'm gonna hit you with some heavy fees. But shrewd businessman. National Transit Building was built in 1890, as you can see by the window. It's 4 stories, Then the annex was built right next door in 1896. What do you think about this? These two buildings right here and right here, the annex building right next door, was built for 90 grand. You couldn't do that today, I'm telling you, I'm just saying. You couldn't build something as beautiful as this today for 90 grand. I think I failed to mention last time I was here, these are a walkway in between the buildings. So you didn't have to go out on the street. You basically just walked through the breezeway. I don't know if you want to call them that, but basically the buildings were connected. Here's my thoughts on this. Rockefeller had the monopoly on this. And I don't know, good competition is good. If you have the companies making the same product, 10 companies making the same product, you should have your choice of buying what you like. But monopolies pretty much rubbed Ida Tarbell the wrong way, because she felt Rockefeller was pretty much taking over the area and soaking up all the money from the oil in the area. A little quick reference on Ida Tarbell. She was from Titusville. She was a journalist. She put forth a bill to the Supreme Court to tell them monopolies are bad. Have a free enterprise. No monopolies. No one person can own all one business. You know, oil business, whatever business is. She didn't like monopolies, and it passed in the Supreme Court. That bill passed in 1911, pretty much making the money train stop to the National Transit Building. Pretty much after that, this building sold 10 times. When Pennzoil bought it the last time and they moved to Texas, it sat idle. That's where Ralph Nader comes in. But before Ralph Nader come in and bought these two buildings, CVS bought this property and was gonna demolish these two buildings. But when these buildings, basically when CVS bought the property, they were gonna demolish this, and basically Oil City, you'd be looking at a CVS. And you guys know me. I hate it when I tear down historical buildings. The same thing would have happened here. But Ralph Nader caught wind of CVS gonna knock these two beautiful buildings down, come in and bought them. He stuck $100,000 into these. What he did, he turned around, sold it back to Oil City for a cool, crisp $1 bill. And today, 2024, National Transit Building is basically a giant art studio. Very cool. Now, unfortunately, today is Sunday. The building is closed. I can't go in there, or I would. But today is basically art classes, art galleries. They have different kinds of classes in here. They run fundraisers at this building. They had water elevators, which are not in service anymore. But a water elevator. I think the state banned them. I'm not Wikipedia, I couldn't tell you the year, but yeah. Who knew an elevator could run on water? Crazy. Think about this. You could be looking at a CVS drugstore right now. Yeah, I missed, the building was open from 12 to 4 today. I missed it. It's like 4:30 now. So I would have loved to went in, but someday I will go in and check it out. You guys know me. I don't dip my toes into either side of the fence with politics on this channel. But I thought it was very cool of a political activist to do that. Now, Ralph Nader's he's up in age now. I think he's in his 90s. But like I said in the disclaimer, I'm not picking sides. I'm just saying what he did for the National Transit Building to save it from CVS being there, I thought was pretty cool. Again, I'm not picking sides. Don't get me wrong. Somebody commented in one of my videos about Rouseville. They asked me if the pipe in the air was still burning the flame where all the oil tankers was. And I said, no, that was long gone when Pennzoil moved to Texas. I do gotta tell you a story though. Let me pull over. I'm gonna tell you a story. People were coming up to me and this guy was kind of funny. I talked to 3 people when I was basically walking around Pipeline Alley and walking around the building and shots, and people were seeing what I'm doing. And a couple of people were like, oh, okay, yeah, Rockefeller, he owned the building. And this one guy's like, yeah, Rockefeller, that guy was a jerk. I was like, so, and I said to him, I go, oh, so he was the Buddy Revel of the oil industry. And he just looked at me like, a lot of people don't get my reference about the Buddy Revel, but you know me, 3 O'Clock High, the movie, Buddy Revel was the bully in the movie.
You and me. 3 o'clock.
But he didn't get the whole, you know what I mean? But I had to laugh because the way he said it, he was really forceful with the jerk part. I hate weeks like this, let me tell you. I literally, seriously, had 6 hours to do a video this week. And I thought, man, I have touched on the pipeline alley and the transit building before, just briefly going through stuff and said, hey, such and such happened here. But I've never really done a full detailed, video on it. I'm like, oh, 6 hours to do the building? And then they were closed today because today is, well, it's Sunday. Hopefully one of these days I'll have more days to film instead of just 6 hours. This week was nuts. I was busy for 6 days. But those were the days.
Those were the days, my friend.
When I got a massive headache because the leaves are falling off the tree, I visited Pipeline Alley, the National Transit Building, where it could have been a CVS. But old Ralph Nader stepped in. And like I said, I'm not picking sides on who is who. I'm just saying the political activist Ralph Nader stepped in, threw money at it, and then sold it back to Oil City for a crisp $1 bill. Transfer fee. Not the building. Didn't buy the building back. That was a transfer fee to get it back in Oil City's name. Or you'd be looking at a CVS buying your ibuprofen from that place. I think I'd rather have those two buildings there now. But love you all. I'll see you next week. Hopefully I have more days next week to film. This was a crazy week. See you Monday. This is a daily.